Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Crypto Space. In today's video, we are going to cover Kaspa, its recent price action. We are going to cover a couple of interesting metrics for Kaspa and a couple of tweets as well as altcoin charts too, so we can put ourselves into perspective of where we are. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and a quick disclaimer that this video isn't a financial advice. But alright, let's have a look at Kaspa itself. So Kaspa is currently trading at 14 cents of a dollar and is currently experiencing a leg up of 3.3%. Market cap is currently sitting at 3.2 billion USD and 24-hour trading volume is currently sitting at 78.4 million USD. So if we are going to look at that chart on a daily, that looks very juicy, but obviously 3% is nothing in the world of crypto, but we are going to check the chart very shortly. And let's have a look at the first piece of information. So RangeX exchange has listed Kaspa, so that's a spot listing. Of course, I know that we are waiting for Binance and Coinbase listings, but that is going to come with time, I believe, right? I do think that RangeX listing, spot listing, is still good because obviously that is going to drive more liquidity towards Kaspa, so that's always a great news. And speaking about top tier exchanges, we actually do have a listing on Binance, but that's obviously futures, which is something that we don't necessarily want to see because we are all waiting for that spot listing, so that can drive more liquidity. Kaspa was listed in November last year, so I believe that it's just a matter of time when Binance is going to list Kaspa on spot. And now let's compare Kaspa to Cardano. So first things first, instant transaction settlement. Yes for Kaspa, not for Cardano. Now proof of work, both of them are proof of work. Kaspa is faster. Now a Bitcoin's BFT security threshold. So for Kaspa, that's 1 second and 30 seconds for Cardano. Stainless money, yes, that's for Kaspa. No, not for Cardano. Truly solves the trilemma, Kaspa, but not Cardano. Now fair launched, no pre-mine, no pre-location. Yes for Kaspa and no for Cardano. So I do believe that this is one of the most important factors over here for Kaspa, because Kaspa has no pre-location and Cardano has pre-location towards the team members. So I do believe that's fair for Kaspa. Everybody had a chance to jump into Kaspa from zero. And if we are going to look at market value in 180 days, for Kaspa 32 million to 541 million, which is 1690%, aka 16.9x, and for Cardano 275 million to 221, minus 20%. And now hash rate for Kaspa 189 terahash, and that is plus 381%. And if we are going to look at Cardano, it's 188 terahash per second to 512, so that's plus 215%. And if we are going to look at smart contract, unfortunately at this point that's minus for Kaspa, because for Kaspa smart contracts are still at planning stage, and for Cardano that's already there. So to conclude, I still do believe that Kaspa is better than Cardano for one particular reason, and that is no pre-mine and no pre-location, which is fair. As I said before, everybody could jump into the project from zero. Let's have a look at some numbers for Kaspa. So the current reward is currently sitting at 123 Kaspas, and the next reward is going to be 117 Kaspas. The next reduction is scheduled in 20 days, and a hash rate is currently sitting at 179 terahash per second as we speak. And now let's examine addresses that are holding over 10k Kaspa. So last time I have updated you guys, that was around 2 days ago, and today is 16th of March. So let's say that we are going to look at 13th. So we were sitting at 67.9k addresses, and at the moment we are sitting at 6806. So that's a little bit over 100 more addresses that are holding over 10,000 Kaspa. Of course that's not a lot, but again the accumulation is real. And if we are going to look at addresses holding over 100,000 Kaspa, let's have a look. So we are going to look at 13th, we're sitting at 18.8 thousand, and at the moment we're sitting at 18.81, so around 200 new addresses holding over 100,000 Kaspa. So that's very good to see. And let's have a look at the chart itself finally. So the first things first, let's have a look at the daily, right? So as I was saying before, that we could potentially dip into that level of 12 cents of a dollar. As we can see here, 100-day moving average supported us on a daily, and that's good because we saw that bounce back, and now it looks like Kaspa is coming back to life. And if we are going to look at RSI trend on a daily, we can also see that we had this sell-off, a little bit of boring action over here going on, then again pump, and now we have this downtrend too. And obviously we are going to exhaust that downtrend sooner or later, and Kaspa is ready to pump further. And now what kind of pump we could expect? Let's have a look. As I was saying in my previous updates, I would anticipate around 24-25 cents of a dollar of the next pump. And I'm not the only person that thinks that Kaspa is going to see bigger prices soon. So if we are going to look at these impulsive waves over here for Kaspa coming back to 2022. So the first wave, it was wave A, then we had the sell-off, right? Then we had B, C, and D, and after that we had a huge pump over here for Kaspa. And now let's go back to the beginning. So that is wave A, B, C, D, and then E. That was another big pump for Kaspa. However, these waves B, C, and D were taken relatively longer than the previous ones. And if we are going to look at the current price action, so that's A, B, C, D, and if Kaspa is going to follow the same pattern as last two times, we could expect around 50 cents Kaspa. So that's definitely not out of the question. I believe that could happen following that trend line and those waves. By the way, if you would be interested into keeping your Kaspa safe outside of exchanges on which anything might happen, make sure that you check out Tangem Wallet. So Tangem Wallet is a cold storage solution for you to keep your Kaspa safe, but most importantly, not only Kaspa, because the Tangem Wallet supports many different projects. They also have lots of safety features that you can check on their website, but my personal favorite is the fact that once you're going to buy your Kaspa or other project that you are holding, and then after you send it to Tangem, you don't have to send it back to exchange when you want to sell it with profits, because you can just swap it for USDT in a Tangem app. So I do believe this is a cool solution, and with my discount code you can get 10% off. The link is in the description down below. And now let's have a look at some charts. So the first chart over here, shout out to Titan of Crypto on X. 5 trillion total market cap for alts is the bare minimum for this cycle. So I expect nothing less. So he's expecting big numbers, and I actually too, right? Because it makes sense. If we are going to look at the trend line, that will be around 5 to 6 trillion USD. But of course, we could have more injection because of the ETFs. And if we are going to look from the perspective of reaching all-time highs, we can clearly see that we are on the way here to reach our all-time high. However, we still have to battle and close above this major level of resistance over here, but that chart is including ETH, so bear that in mind. However, there of course could be some pullbacks and rejection from that resistance over here that leads us back to the previous cycle. However, there is going to be a little bit of sideways price action before the next breakout and next all-time highs for alts. So of course we do have to be patient with our Kaspa bags and other projects if you do hold other projects. And if you are going to look at the zoomed out perspective, we can clearly see that this is just a small rejection. We can clearly see over here what we had in the second consolidation slash wave, right? So we have experienced that, and now we are going into parabolic mode. But of course that doesn't necessarily mean that we are just going to have straight up parabola. We could have some downside price action for a little while before we are going to see a bigger prices for alts. And if we are going to look at BTC, we are still before the halving, so we still have a little bit of time. Bitcoin's dominance top has been confirmed, and it's about to begin a downward trend. Alts are looking strong and maybe time to catch up. So if Bitcoin is going to see further rejection on the dominance, that is going to definitely give a breather for alts and a green light for alts to pump harder. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching that quick Kaspa update. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I wish you having a great day or evening wherever you are in the world. Peace and love, crypto.